Well, hello and welcome. I'm Sue Britz,
And I'm Tina Lokkbakk. Welcome to Retired.
the podcast where we talk about what life is like when we put on new tread, new wheels that move us to our next adventure.
Sometimes, Sue, when we're on a new adventure, things happen. Tires pop and we become deflated. So today I introduce, and looking for your guidance and wisdom and mentorship, how do you overcome deflated tire days? Because I entered into one the last couple of days.
Oh,
And maybe I'm going to share literally the thing that deflated me, and I haven't recovered. So Sunday night, I was driving over to help Maria at the cigar shop. Was going to get paid because I'm getting trained, so if anything happens, I can take over.
mm-hmm.
And I finally brought my car up from Southern California because the transmission had been fixed. And I am just happy as a clam because I love my convertible Mustang. And as I was driving with the top down, listening to great music, just happy with life, I look down and here's the wrench that appears on my screen that says something is wrong. And it has 157,000 miles on it, which is a lot, but I've taken really great care of her. And it was the beginning of the deflation where I felt my whole little self kind of just, and it really hasn't recovered since Sunday night. And I'm facing so many things I don't want to do that I have to face. Like I have to pay my house taxes. And because I haven't been home, I get to pay that $35 fee because I have to do it online, which is just maddening, right? It shouldn't cost $35 when everywhere else it's nothing. And then we have taxes themselves, which has kind of made me sad because, of course, I made no income this last year because I dedicated it to self-investment. And then it's little things like the man who's in charge of fixing my house, who's done nothing, and we are now in April. I mean, he's done very little. And I've already prepaid some of it, so that's been really hard. So I'm feeling a little bit deflated because there's so many things and I don't know sometimes how to shift that gear. So I come to you today, oh wise mentor of mine. And let's talk about recovering from deflation and enter into inflation.
Wow. Yeah. You know, I think money problems is one of the biggest problems that people can have. And it's historically, and it's certainly like right now, knowing that you're not alone. I know that doesn't help, but it kind of does because it may feel like, it's your choice to have these things happen to you. And so knowing that it really isn't, that other people are facing the similar thing, it's tough. Sometimes stuff just happens and it happens all at the same time, like comes in threes or whatever. So knowing that intellectually at least can help. Um, and knowing that there's always an ebb and flow, there's ups and downs and ups and downs. And along the way, all the decisions we do make and all the things that do happen inform us, they teach us. And so, keeping a record of it, in your mind or writing it down, if you journal, that helps because it lets you offload things and then come back and look at it later and see what you can glean from it. So those are just like some regular tactics, but just kind of going with the flow is important. I mean, if you use the metaphor, like if you're on an inner tube going down a river and you're literally flowing with that river, there are challenges along the way that you need to position yourself so you don't smash into the rocks or snag yourself on that log that's sticking out, or keep your feet up so that or your bum up so that you don't smack it on the shallows. Be aware of the faster flowing water ahead of you and come up with a plan. So using that metaphor, it's kind of the same thing, We're on this flow of life and we just gotta, sometimes you can prevent things by planning. Other times you have to improvise along the way. Sometimes you just have to get out of it on the side and take a rest. Um, I think other times in my life I've experienced when someone tries to mansplain and,
Mm.
you know, take care of each one of those details that you talked about, each one of the problems, and I'm going to solve it for you. And like that's the solution to this underlying feeling that you have. Instead, I think it's more about zooming out and looking at the
Mhm.
big picture and using that metaphor. So, yeah, there's a time and place to fix little individual problems, but you just go from there. I That's my 2 cents worth.
Well, your 2 cents is worth quite a bit more. And I've actually written down notes, actually. I think it wouldn't be a bad idea to have like a card to go to that has like the little tools of the
Oh, that's
trade,
funny. Yeah.
And I was thinking, so I'm writing them down now so I can put them on a card so I can use the different tools because sometimes they don't work. You need another tool and another. And you just, help me think about my arsenal. And I think what you ended with, the zoom out, if I can get to this place where I take myself out of the picture and literally become the director of my film, if you look at life as like your movie and then it becomes kind of funny,
Mm.
right? Because you
Yeah.
can step out of it and look at it as, okay, this is Tina's challenge day in the movie. So what is she going to do next? And look at it with some curiosity and humor,
Mhm. Mhm.
So like, I don't know what I'll be doing next, but for whatever reason, it makes it less tragic because in the reality,
Yeah.
I think I've come to understand this, that it's not really that bad. Like, we're safe. I have food. I have a great place to live. Life is really not that bad. And so you're right. I think this zooming out and looking at the big picture, that was a good tool today. I think I'll focus on that one.
Yeah, I love how we first of all grab metaphors because that really helps us, really kind of internalize it. It takes it from an emotional into an intellectual and it puts you in a
Oh,
different plane so that you can make sense of this. I mean, you're saying, and this is one of the other things you do is that helps with everything is to share, is to ask for help or to share with others, just offload it a bit. And when we are able to then grab a metaphor and think about what it is that we want to do with it, then you don't fall into despair. You are pulling
right.
yourself up into a different plane. You're not living in that the emotional soul heart part. You're pulling yourself up into the emotional. I mean, you're all attached, so you're going to have
It's
the benefit
true.
of both. But that's the thing. That perspective of changing the way you look at it, we're better at doing that, I think, because we've gotten older
Mm.
and wiser, and and
Yeah.
and this is a real gift. So I think that's a great strategy. And if you that's the top priority is getting yourself back into a vibe that's going to be more positive and productive than allowing ourselves to fall and fall and fall, because there's a time to mourn, but you can't live there. You can only
No
survive there.
wallowing.
Yeah, you can only survive there. You can't live there. And ultimately what we want to do is live. So, yeah, got to pull yourself out of that. And you're saying all the things you need to do. So, there you go. You're you're
Well, I
on
think,
you're on the road, to use our
yes,
larger metaphor.
yes. And I do like the not alone. And let's throw it into carpooling because actually, when you said that, and that is so true, when you realize that you're right. I think that's where we get so into our heads that we forget that there are other people that are facing this and worse.
Mhm.
And when you realize that someone else out there, and lots of people are facing many similar things, you're right. That's a lot less terrible. But I think when you're alone, like I have been a lot lately, it's hard to realize that you're not alone.
Yeah.
When you're spending a lot of time alone, you forget that there are other people out there suffering their sufferings or overcoming their challenges. So that helped too.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
the balance between the head and the heart and, um, certainly solving the problems. You can't sit there helpless and do nothing either. So
No,
it's really, deciding what are the priorities and what order to put it in. And first of all is you gotta get yourself in a good place
right.
to solve those problems, because then you make better decisions. And to reflect on things, it helps, you know, make a better decision about how you wanna resolve stuff.
So the next question I have for you, where I struggle and I realize, this is something that I will be challenged with. I don't know how to have fun sometimes, Sue, where I really feel like there's no time to have fun, that I need to be working, especially where I'm at now, figuring out how to earn income again. And so then I feel guilty for having fun or making time for fun or not working or not utilizing every hour. And like today, having to face, like, I'm going to file for the first time, I decided that if I can figure out how to make websites and build a business, then I certainly should be able to do my taxes. So I've given myself permission to do an extension. And when I am facing surgery in June, I will have plenty of time to sit down and do my taxes and the things that I need to get done. So as I look at these things I have to pay today and figure out, I ask myself, okay, well, what can I do as a reward? I don't want to sit and have a glass of wine as the reward. I want to have some fun. And I think that becomes the challenge because when you're tired or when you're kind of in a stuck, deflated place, it's kind of hard to just figure out what fun is. So, how do you reach your fun? How do you pull that out?
Oh, it's interesting. I don't know. I think for me, yeah, I think in retirement things are different.
Mm,
Certainly during when the transition when I was retiring, it was right when, right at COVID. So that was a whole different ball game where you're like in this capsule, a space capsule out in
so
space,
true.
and you're having to figure out how to have fun. Well, you're thinking, "Oh my gosh, the humanity's gonna die," or whatever. So
Well,
let
we're
me
still there in a different way.
right, let me just put that one to the side, but if I think back on when I used to have fun as an
Yeah.
adult, not as a
Yeah.
kid, it's mostly when you're around people that you care about. And it could
Wow.
be people
True.
who are I think about my colleagues and friends at work because you're getting through this thing together
You're
and you
right.
have in jokes and unspoken language about how you feel about things, just a roll of an eye or whatever it might be, or just to look at each other because we're on the same plane. And just to go and chat or dance or play a card game or have a dinner and just talk. Those were some of the most fun things. The giggly, the full on or authentic belly laughs, out of control laughing that is great. Now, life for me is not that place anymore because I don't have that. We're not going through the harrowing experience of teaching in the classroom, and I know those poor colleagues that are out there doing that now. They're having even a harder time, and so I would encourage them to just use laughter and their collegiality to carry themselves through. I think it is an eternal beginning place of humor, I think. So now to take it into retirement, it's you got to
Mm-hmm.
find your tribe. You got to find your people that you can hang out with. Certainly, I think us getting together on the weekly, we've enjoyed this. This is something that is fun. It's quote work. It's talking about heavy stuff like we're doing today. It's about being silly. It's about all of it. And so even through
Showing
hard,
up.
yeah, even through hard times, silliness uh, knowing that person and being able to be yourself in front of that person is uh, is fun. I think a lot of people get distracted by oh fun. We have to have an event, so we have to go do an
Mm,
escape room, or we need to go to an amusement park, or we need to go see
right.
a show, and we're actually not even talking while we're at the show.
That's so
You
true.
know, I th- that could be a stimulus for fun, and those things can be intrinsically fun. However, you can't go do that every day. and there's a cost for it, and people don't have time off all the time. Usually they have to work.
And sometimes it's just too big. Sometimes it's just too big. And I think what you just said, I just have to comment. Like, you're right. I think that it's the people. It's about the people that you're spending the time with. I think that that struck a nerve for me. It's not the thing, the action, so much as the being with people that you really enjoy,
Mhm.
or like you said, can connect with over the same things. And I think that's huge. That's true.
I
And
mean,
and that yeah.
even if you're like watching a TV show that's hilarious and you're by yourself, you might find humor and you might smile, break a smile, or maybe a little chuckle. But if you're with somebody who else gets it and appreciates it,
Wow.
you're, I mean, it changes it completely. You're like laughing. It's now an in joke between the two of you. You might have that wonderful kind of laughter where you can't stop. You're peeing your pants, that kind of thing. Um, Not
And that
literally,
happens a
hopefully.
lot.
Not
Oh,
literally,
well.
hopefully, hopefully.
Hopefully, but on this side of retirement, it's more often than not. But go
Okay.
ahead.
Oh, I hope not. Okay. But anyhow, I mean, that's just the proof to me. And so you could feel guilty about laughing like that. I don't think so. I mean, this was something I was thinking about earlier today, in fact. When
Hmm.
you're laughing, sometimes when you might feel guilt about laughing. So you've got
Do you?
listen, you got your friend in Ukraine who's in war, and
Ah,
their lights are out, and
right.
they're having to be down in the basement avoiding the drones and the bombs and stuff. And then you've got friends who are concerned about their country of origin that's being bombed right now and being threatened with war crimes against them, bombing
Uh,
the electricity and their bridges and everything. And then you've got people who are struggling to fill their car tank full of gas so they can go to work to pay the
right.
bills, and you're not breaking even anymore. So
Yeah.
so when you have that moment of laughter and those things are very present in your mind, you feel a little bit of guilt. At the same time, I would say my friend who is in that basement in Ukraine,
Ukraine.
avoiding the bombs, she would want us to live our lives and
Right. That's
live
true.
them fully and share them with her so she can see it and remember that life exists beyond what they're having to suffer right now. Think of my parents who died recently in the last couple of years, and I think of my dad, and he like I know that he would enjoy it, but I know he'd want me to be enjoying life too and finding
Yeah.
things funny and hilarious. So you got to continue. We can't feel guilty about feeling happiness and feeling fun. We've got to embrace that. Don't be disrespectful to others with that. And understand the privilege that we have to feel those feelings. It's important to
Yeah, it's
not
true.
stifle them, but
It's
to
all
to
of the
live them.
experience.
Yeah, to live them. You gotta do it.
As you
So
were explaining this, that was excellent, by the way. And I got to thinking last night, the last 2 nights, I have been watching the Nuremberg trial, the movie with Russell Crowe.
okay.
And I wonder how much that plays a part on the ability to look at the positive. And then the last 2 mornings, I woke up to the threat of what the, annihilating of Iran. And it makes me so sad. And I've told myself I've got to just stop looking at the news. And maybe I should think about what I'm watching before I go to sleep because those
Well,
are big, heavy
absolutely.
things,
Yeah.
And I think I'm somewhere torn between I want to know what's going on, Sue, and also I've got so much on my own plate. It hurts too much to hear the bigger things that are going on that I have no control over.
Well, I think there's a balance there too. I mean, if you're in a place you're feeling yourself feeling low, or you need to not go deeply into feeling bad, then absolutely you got to turn off that Nuremberg trial. I mean, In the same respect, you gotta know about that. You need to bear witness. That is our responsibility as human beings, and especially as people who are not in the midst of being bombed and in the
Yeah.
middle of our a war on our land and our lives. Although we should be thinking about it every day. Yeah, you've gotta again, it goes back to prioritizing. So I'm gonna take care of this first so that I can do these other things.
Right.
The news, you gotta kinda just you could do a 30-second review, what's going on, look at the headlines and do a mental check. Where am I with how I'm feeling? Am I gonna be able to deal with these things? If these other things are so,
Right.
powerfully bringing me down, then I've got to
Maybe
rejuvenate.
hold it off.
I gotta
Yeah. Maybe hold
rejuvenate.
it off till the afternoon when
Yeah,
I've done
yeah,
the tasks
yeah.
as opposed to first thing in the morning before
Yes,
I begun the
or at
day
the
and
end
I'm
of the
already
day.
sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
So
that would be better.
that's important. I don't think we can have a blind eye. I think we have to be knowledgeable of what's going on. I mean, we're at a very pivotal, important,
Pivotal.
horrible time in our history, and we need to know and we need to be involved. But you also have to do so in a way that's healthy to you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, on an inflation, if I fill up my tire a little bit, this was kind of exciting. A week ago, I made the decision to really think about how I'm eating and to up my game and muscle building because I'm at this point where I have nothing I can wear and I refuse or I don't refuse. I had to decide, am I going to go buy the whole new level up or am I going to do something now to wear the clothing that I have in my closet? That's really what it boiled down to. So I made a commitment. I guess it'll be 10 days ago. And I was able to wear in 1 week of just eating better, more vegetables, and less snacking. I am now able to wear a pair of jeans that I haven't been able to wear. So that was a positive thing in that by consciously making a change, I saw a result.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like everything else though. It's patience because it doesn't happen overnight. It
No.
doesn't happen in that meal. It doesn't happen in the choice that you make, but it is the choices over time that make a
Right.
difference.
Well, and weight loss in particular, that's a tough one. And a tough one as we get older. We're into,
Yes.
yes, our body
Yes.
doesn't want to do
Shifts.
that. Well, it doesn't want to do that. It's
No, it doesn't.
physically harder to gain muscle mass and to lose weight. So those are things you have to, like
Two
you say,
things.
mindfully work on. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So that was a good thing on the inflation part. One thing that I've experienced when I am tired and deflated, getting onto emails, texts, phone messages is where I shut down. So
huh.
right now, I have to get online, figure out what my role is this week, or pick a role. And just the thought of getting online to do these things just overwhelms me. Even today, like getting on to the tax, whatever it is for extensions to the government, like those are really hard things for me to do when I don't want to do it. Technology, the expectation that I'll be frustrated, that it won't be easy. I've already put up all these barricades and mental blocks.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
What about this evening then? How are you going to end your day? You gonna go for a walk? What's the weather like over there?
Cooler than for you over there, because I look um, cooler but still warm, so it's good. It's good weather. And over there for you, are you up to 80s right now?
And it's supposed to be 80 today, so I don't know. But
Okay.
it's like that cool kind. It's perfect weather right now
Yeah.
because it's enough to put us a jacket on or was over at a friend's house last night and um We ate outside, which is always a little bit
Oh,
interesting
so
because,
nice.
well, it is, but it's also interesting because you're concerned about mosquitoes and stuff. It's this weird balance between enjoying the outdoors and having West Nile attack you. Um, there weren't mosquitoes. I mean, she's got this beautiful garden, and it was full of insects, but there weren't mosquitoes, so that was cool. And then, literally, as the sun went down, it became cool just like that. So, it's perfect weather right now. Yeah.
I
Why are we talking about
Marie
the weather? I mean, this is
Yeah, I know this is lovely. And speaking of which, so it's going to turn into a thing. I have this little mini heater on the balcony. The Our friend who was running the shop left us his patio furniture because he was going to a place that had no patio. So we got these great rocking chairs, nice little table. Maria invested in this electric Ninja grill, which is a smoker and a grill, and it's great. So then we have this little mini tabletop, cute propane, like the camping kind of canisters. And we have not been able to get it to work. So I asked Bjorn, your favorite person, and
he's
he
not a
said there
person.
was.
It's not a person.
So there is some sort of I don't even know what it's called, but it doesn't ignite properly. So the option then is to take this thing apart, get this new piece, it's just about $10 to $25, and stick it in. And that's where I get hung up on things because Maria's like, throw the darn thing away. Let's buy another one for another $100. And then I'm feeling like, isn't it just so capitalistic of us? There's this beautiful new heater that isn't working. So do I just throw it away? But at the same time, I don't have the patience. Like, that is not where my energy wants to go right now in fixing this little heater. And it's those little things that take up time in our already busy world. And you have X amount of energy cells in a day. Like, where do you spend it? And is it on preventing this thing from going into the landfill when it could be fixed? And it's basically brand new. It's beautiful. Anyway, I'm just pointing out that sometimes then I go into my head and think about just there's so much in our lives that when it runs smoothly, it runs smoothly. When it doesn't, there are so many things that take up so much time that I think back in the days when we were just planting and harvesting and hunting and, doing the basic things to survive, I wonder in some ways, was it easier? Because your head wasn't so full of things.
I'd say no.
Oh, okay.
I mean, maybe in our mind, we would romanticize that and enjoy it. But if you're living in a constant state of survival and one thing fails, then, that's it. I mean, whether it's your water's contaminated or there is water, or the knife slips as you're harvesting something and it cuts you and then you get infected and you die. People die
Or there's a
young,
drought and it
yeah.
kills all your
So
crops.
I would say no.
Good point. Good point. Well, thanks. Thanks.
All right. Until the next time. Thanks for listening. Now let's pack up this week's episode in the trunk.
Ride shotgun and be a part of our adventure by clicking on the plus sign to follow our show. This will help our ratings and, more importantly, inspire us to keep creating fun and engaging content. We would love to hear from you in the comment sections or email us at retiredpodcastnewtread@gmail.com. Use the fast track lane by sharing episodes with friends, family, and anyone who would like to join us on a road trip through retirement.
Be sure to check the show notes for links and contact information. Retired is chauffeured by Britz and Tina Lokkbakk. It is produced, directed, and edited by me, Britz. Music and graphics are by me too. Buckle up and tune in next week so that you won't miss your chance to
join our retired road trip.
Okay, so I figured out how not to have that pet peeve of mine where we're not jumping in fast enough. Because I just wait for you and then I cut that little segment out in between, which pisses me off, but it's okay because that's a solution. And it's not that important.